Hey guys, Wages World here. It is January 10th, 2021, coming at you with a video. I'm going to call these my space weather short reports. Okay? The reason being is this is just going to be nothing more than space weather conditions. I'm going to show you what the satellites look at. And if there's something going on, I'll give you a little touch of that also. I'm still going to give some information here on these, but I'm going to keep it more straight to the point for those that don't have time to stick around for a live stream. I'm still going to be doing my live streams, but I'm doing this extra for people so they, because I understand I changed my format, a few months back, and I never kind of reverted back to it. So I'm going to try to get back into doing that for everybody. I'll try to do these every day. So hopefully these won't last very long. Okay. So I got you guys over here at Space Weather Prediction Center, and what we got is a solar wind speed of 315. Which is very much normal. Anything below 300 would be considered low. Normal is 3 to 500. X-ray flux. We look at that when we talk about flares. Nothing really going on here. We got some small ones, but nothing big. Okay, so no worries there. Matter of fact, it's actually kind of low. Solar proton flux. That's what we look at for radiation storms. Nothing going on there. Geomagnetism. Geomagnetic activity here. Very, very low. Okay, this is low enough now that they'll probably issue some sort of cosmic ray alert. If that happens, if this continues, we have to have some geomagnetism, or we can't fend off the cosmic rays and other stuff coming at us. All right. So right now we're going to be getting into the territory where we need to start worrying about some cosmic rays getting into our system. All right. Now, first look at your sun. You have a coronal hole right here. We're probably connected to that right now. So here in about 3 or 4 days, we'll probably see a slight increase in solar wind speed and density. It could give us a bump on our KP level, which is what we use to gauge right here. Okay, you see the KP over here on the left? So, yeah. So if we get if that does bump us up enough, we could get in the storm level. But I don't see that happening with a coronal hole of that size. You're probably not going to see a whole lot. Now there is a sunspot. Okay, it may not be an official sunspot, but I look for it to be. It just now started to form. Okay, it formed just a little bit off the edge of the limb. It wasn't there until like a day or two ago. So it did form like that. It could end up just being an active area. But regardless, it's going to give us more X-rays, and whenever we see these active areas, we see flares and CMEs and stuff like that around these active areas, more so than what we see on other parts of the sun that don't have sunspots. So the chances of us seeing any kind of CME or eruption from the sun is greater around a sunspot. So, ACE data. Okay, the red, that's the BZ. That's the angle of which the solar wind hits us. Okay, we don't really too much worry about that unless it's getting past -6. And right now, if you look at the gauge here, we're looking at -6 to 6 is the range. Okay, you always have to look at that because they'll change it depending on what conditions we're experiencing. They would have to raise it if we're seeing stuff that's outside of that range. Okay. Now, again, right now everything's just so quiet, it's crazy. Now the phi angle, that's polarity of the solar wind. Remember, solar wind is charged particles. So it has a polarity, negative or positive. It gets to Earth from a magnetic connection line to the sun. We're connected to the sun with the interplanetary magnetic connection line. So when that will change polarity every so often. And we'll see it on here. That's what we call the phi angle. When it does do that, when it does flip, what you'll see is it jump down here. Okay, and then it'll go back up or do whatever it's doing. But we can get a little jolt geomagnetically when that happens. The orange is density. It's normal. Okay, normal density is 4. Right now we're hanging right in there. Now remember, you always got to look at your range over here, because it'll be different almost every day. So just because this doesn't look whatever, it could look totally different tomorrow and still have the same conditions. So you got to look at that range. Solar wind speed, it's actually kind of low. We're on the low end of normal right now. Okay, 3 to 500 is normal. So this is reading 200 at the bottom. If we were seeing stuff like that, that's extremely low solar wind speed. But this is why the geomagnetism isn't very high. Okay, so that's why we're not seeing anything to have it raise. In other words, we're not getting too much from the sun right now. Now that's going to change probably, but anyway, this is Noaa's model, and the conditions there on the top here, that's density. What we want to look at is the green line. That's the conditions at Earth. Again, look at your range. It's showing you 0 to 40. What's normal, like I said earlier, is 4. Okay? So even though that this thing doesn't look, this little hump right there doesn't look too impressive, it's actually above normal. It's almost 15 if you really look about right here at the peak of it. Now we're right here in time. This tells us 2 days behind us and tries to predict 5 days out in advance. So right now we're looking for an increase here in the next couple days. So we'll have to see if that materializes or not. Okay, so as we move up here, you can see the auroras there. That won't budge unless we see some geomagnetic activity. You know, solar wind, increased density, all of that. So there's that. Now we'll move on. Okay, guys, this is Schumann resonance. Remember, 783 is normal, right? Or what we consider normal, I guess, if we want to use those words. Obviously, you're seeing 2 big spikes, okay? Remember, this tool is over there in Russia, okay? These can be regional. Things can affect these things like snow, thunderstorms, all that stuff. But these are very significant spikes, guys, okay? Anybody that's been looking at this for any length of time knows this. That's why I'm explaining it now. So if you see this stuff on the Schumann tool here, it's the Earth's heartbeat. I'm not going to go into a big explanation, but that's what this is. And we're definitely seeing some spiking here, and it could be because of whatever is coming from outside of our planet, or it could be something going on inside our planet. But right now, those are if you're getting ringing in your ears, not feeling so great, you know, there's a lot of things that this thing can affect. Remember, frequency touches everything, because it is everything pretty much, okay? So when we're talking about this, this definitely does affect our physical bodies, just so you know. Lots and lots of different studies that have been done on this. And those of you that are probably watching this short report probably already know that. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Okay, guys, this is the geomagnetic, our magnetosphere tools. The sun's off to the left, and this is basically space weather's effect on our magnetic field, and you can see it. This is the solar wind speed. This is velocity and velocity only. Not a whole lot going on there, guys. Always look at your key, okay? That'll tell you how fast things are moving. But also, this thing will look like it gets blown up all over the place if things are happening, okay? Our bow shock is our first line of defense against all of solar wind and stuff coming from space. You can see where it's at. Sometimes the position of that will change depending on how hard we're getting hit or how soft. It'll go out further if we're not getting hit too hard. This is density. These things will directly reflect each other most times, okay? You can see how we're getting some variance in density here. It's not real great, but it definitely is a small difference there. You can see how when it hits our bow shock, what it does. It kind of hits it and then goes around it. You'll see it right here in just a second. It'll come back, it'll loop back around here for you. Right there, you see that? So you can definitely tell where it's at when you got a difference of density, because right now the bow shock's still there. It didn't go away. It just the density is the same on in front of it as is behind it. So, and remember, white on here is low density, okay? As we're looking at this is pressure. You're not going to see a whole lot here, guys. I'm just going to pause that and grab this. Okay, so I mean, you're not going to see much here. There's not much going on with this, because space weather conditions right now are pretty quiet. but that's probably going to change. So this is the geoelectric field model. This is Spaceweather's effect on our electrical grid, or unnatural electrical components such as transformers, wires, power lines, things like that. And right now things are really, really quiet. Again, things are just so quiet right now, space weather wise, guys. There's not really a whole lot to be like pointing out to you. This is definitely just quiet stuff. So okay, guys, I got you over at SDO. This satellite sits right out in front of Earth, and it looks at the sun all the time. It orbits with the Earth around the sun. I took this back to the 8th. It's going to show us from the 8th through the 10th. What you're going to see is a little couple eruptions over here on this end. Couple filament releases. Those are the dark spots that kind of lift off. I explained that in my last live stream. It's just a magnetic connection line that lifts off the sun and, breaks. It's like an incandescent light bulb. When it breaks, that's the same kind of thing. There's a filament inside your light bulbs. That's what creates the resistance and the light and the heat. And when it's had enough, it breaks, much like what's going on with this. We'll watch this a little bit more here so you guys can see it. I'll point it out when it happens again. But it's pretty clear when it does happen. But we'll watch it for a second just so you guys can see it again. Here it comes right there. See that? All right, now that happened yesterday, I believe. Also, right here, we got a new sunspot trying to form. Okay, see how it's popping over the edge there? I was talking about that earlier on in this video. You can see it kind of popping and doing this little thing there. Those are little itty bitty flares, pretty much. They're not going to do much, but it's showing that it's trying to do things. Okay, so, but not much to talk about here, guys. There's really no big coronal holes or anything like that. So again, things are quiet. Okay, guys, I got you over here at Seeds. Now, this is LASCO C2. It sits right out in front of the Earth also. Does basically the same thing that SDO does. All right, it orbits with the Earth around the sun. Always looking at the sun, unless they want to turn it. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing those filament releases we were talking about, essentially CMEs. Now, this is on the 9th. We don't have any data for the 10th yet, and I don't know why. But we just don't. We don't have it here yet. They'll put it in here at a later time, I'm sure. Probably here in the next couple hours, it'll all get updated. But again, remember, this is as if we went outside and looked at the sun. It is picking up those filament releases. That's why you're seeing the CME stuff and everything else, blasting off there. That little flash you're seeing, it was probably caused from the light, from all that mess going on, and it got in, the light, the camera couldn't handle it. The black disc you see there is the occulter. It's there to block out most of the light so we can even see anything at all. But we had another one right before this. Here, I'll take it back to the 8th so you guys can see it. There's that one. That was significant, guys. It really was, because it kind of haloed out a little bit. Not real big, but that's a decent sized little filament release there. That's the first one. That's the second one. Okay, that second one's what you've seen at the beginning of the other one on the 9th. Alright. So, that's that. Okay, guys, this is Stereo A. This is a side view. Alright. Earth is here. The satellite's here. So, I got you back on the 8th because that's when that first one happened. So, I'm going to show you that one. We may catch a glancing blow from this. I'm not sure yet. It's kind of looking like that, but I'm not going to say 100% on that because I'm just not sure. I don't think they're really even sure if it's going to clip us or not. What I can tell you is it's probably not going to hit us very hard. Now, even glancing blows sometimes can give us issues, but for me right now, I don't think this is really going to be that big of a deal yet. Then we got the second one. We'll go over here to the 9th, and you're missing a lot of data here too. So what you're seeing here is actually that second one. Notice how we still got energy leaving down here too. That never really stopped. So that eruption is really kind of still happening. So there's that one. Now let's go to the 10th and see what we got. A little bit of stuff happening there. You can see, especially if you go over here and look at this one. See how you got like a little ball fall on that one? Watch. See that? Right in that area. Okay, that's not going to hit us, I don't think. But notice how we got energy going off the back too. Okay, remember this is a side view. Satellite here, Earth here. So it's two-dimensional, trying to represent something three-dimensional, and that's why we got to look at different perspectives. Okay, but as of right now, if we get any hit from these CMEs, it'll be just a glancing blow, just kind of skirting by. Okay, guys, this is the CME tracker. All right, this did update. So you got your first one, then the second one right behind it. You see it? Now this is a top-down view. This is the Earth, and this is the Sun. So as you can see, it kind of almost looks like the wake of it. It's kind of like a boat going through the water. Creates a wake, kind of pushes stuff out. That's kind of what we're seeing right there. So what I'm saying is that it does look like we could get clipped by it. So if we look at the side, same thing. That's what this view is. Now if we look over here, sorry about that. We look over here, what do we got? This is Earth's orbit around the sun stretched out in a straight line. So it gives us some depth. What we look for here is that distortion you just seen. See that? And a little bit of that distortion does look like it may catch our planet a little bit. But other than that, I can't, we're not going to take it right on the chin here, but we could catch a glancing blow. So we'll just keep an eye on it, wait for it to get closer, and wait for the data to come in. Okay, guys, I got you over at Spaceweather Prediction, not Spaceweather Prediction Center, but spaceweather.com. Remember me talking about the geomagnetic unrest predicted from the current sheet? Okay, basically we're going into an area of space. We cross over this line sometimes that the polarity itself changes. Okay, so when that happens, sometimes it'll give us a little, a jolt, and we could see some geomagnetism out of it. Typically, we will see some. So, whatever else is going on at the same time will dictate how big of a hit we take. Okay? I'm not saying we're going to get into storm level, but it is always a possibility when we cross over that boundary line. Okay? I think go over and check out spaceweather.com here too, guys. They do really, really good work. This is a sun halo. I'm not going to get into all the theories of what causes these things. I'm not going to have that discussion here. But they're saying this looks like a dream catcher, and it does. Just visually. Okay, they're not saying it is a dream catcher. They're just saying it looks like one. But that's what they call a sun halo. And again, I'm not going to go into all the theories of what people think those are. I can tell you what I think science calls it, but I'm not even going to go into that right now. Notice this. Only 3 fireballs. That's really, really low. Typically, that thing is way more than that. Anybody that's been watching me for any length of time knows that I've seldom had to say 3 fireballs. Those are reported ones, okay? Usually it's upwards of 15, 20 at least. Okay, so this graph here is near Earth objects. Okay, they did not see this one, the 0.3 on January 9th, yesterday. I don't think that was even there yesterday. So it may have passed us and then they seen it. Now it wasn't a big one. Okay, 4 meters, guys. That's not going to do nothing. That's why I'm not making a big deal about it. But what I'm telling you is they did miss this one, and it does happen. Okay, so just know that it missed us. It came within a third of the way to the moon. That's what LD stands for there. Lunar distance, the distance from us to the moon. Now we got some other closer ones coming in, a 1.5 there. You can see it's an 11 meter in size. We got bigger ones that come in, but typically those things aren't really all that close usually. And then down here on February 2nd, you got one that's a 0.6, and you guys can look at that. But just rest assured to know that they will add to these, because they just simply can't see everything. Okay, they just can't. They can't catch everything. It's just way too big. Now this is Noctilucent clouds. This is the water vapor that gets up in the highest parts of our atmosphere and freezes around meteor dust at our poles. it causes these what they call noctilucent clouds. They look blue in appearance, kind of electrifying looking type of clouds, like a real sheen. Remember, these things were 2 weeks late. They happen in the summertime in each hemisphere. So right now it's summertime in the southern hemisphere, and this is why we're looking at the South Pole. Okay, and there's a whole lot of reasons why noctilucent clouds could be late or not showing up when they really should. I'm not going to go into all that right now, because you guys already have heard me talk about it that are listening to this short report anyway. Okay, so that's, you know, that is going to be what it is. All right, guys, I got you over here at USGS, and yes, we've had some earthquakes, guys. Okay, some pretty decent sized ones. We had a 6.1 right there in Argentina. You got a 6.1 over in Vanuatu. Okay, but you can see where all the earthquakes and stuff are happening. We're getting a rash of 5s again, 4s and 5s. Just a lot of activity, guys. Okay, so let me I'll change it to all magnitudes for today, and that's what we get. Okay, right now we're getting some action here. We're getting quite a bit of action right here. Oops. Right here. I'm not really quite sure. Also here on the Texas border. I'm not sure what's happening here. I mean, those could be fracking operations, but we don't typically see them like that. At least down here on the border. Not that I don't see them there very often. These up here, those definitely are probably most likely fracking. But you can see where all the other earthquakes are swarming up there in Alaska. We do have one here on the Aleutian Islands that was a 4.6. You know, Hawaii, obviously, we talk about that all the time. You know, there's a 3.1 there, but nothing really too significant that's happening there. But we had a 6.1 in Vanuatu and 6.1 here in Argentina. So, was it Argentina or Chile? Argentina. Okay, so there it is right there. So, okay, guys, I'm going to leave you with this. This is the Schumann resonance, and obviously you see we got those spikes again. Okay, I just wanted to bring those back to your attention. But I want to touch on something real quick also. We had some really strange power outages today. I guess they lost all power in Pakistan and at the Vatican and Italy. I'm not going to go into what I think is going on there here in this short report thing that I'm doing, the daily space weather report update. But I will go into it on my live stream, and I'll be doing that here in just a little while. So if you guys want to check this out, come check me out on my live stream. That would be cool. Again, I'm doing this for everybody that doesn't have the time. I understand this is what I used to do all my videos. That's how I used to do all my videos. So when I switched format, you know, I kind of felt bad for people that were here to see something a little bit shorter. So hopefully I helped you guys out there. And I'm going to keep, you know, I'm not going to not talk about things here, okay? I will. But it's going to be more about sharing just the pure data here on the short reports. But I'll go into explanations of new things that are happening too. I want to show you guys all that, the space weather stuff. Anything I can report to you, that's what I'll do here, okay? So hopefully it helps those that just want a shorter one. If not, you know, come check out my live stream. I'm still going to do that. So anyway, guys, God bless. Yahusha saves, and you can drink this Kool-Aid.